Okay. Once again, I'm forced to discuss the Confederacy's legacy, or the legacy of the Confederacy. See, the Confederacy started in 1860 and ended in 1865. It lasted for a total of 5 years, for those of you who have no clue how to do math. In its brief but extraordinary existence, it won 128 battles. It lost the war, but it still ranks pretty highly in the number of with other nations in terms of battles won. So that's a pretty good record considering it was only in existence for 5 fucking years. In case you didn't know, I am a Southerner, y'all. I was born in Virginia and I grew up in North Carolina. I consider myself a Virginian and I am very proud of it. Now, there are those of you that would call that the the Confederacy a bunch of traitors who fought for slavery. And guess what? You're right. But here's what I have to say about that. The patriots in the Revolution rebelled for the exact same reasons. I mean, you had a bunch of colonies who were afraid that King George III, who was against slavery, he was basically inciting rebellions among the slaves and various other reasons. Not only that, you had the Northern Yankee government or federal government, whatever you want to call it, was still out west genociding Native Americans, plowing right through them to make way for white settlement. And they put Native Americans in boarding schools that were very abusive for decades. Not only that, in the Civil War, you'd think that blacks, when they got north or reached Union lines, whatever, however you want to put it, found freedom. The answer is no, they didn't. You see, the Emancipation Proclamation, guess how many slaves went free that day? Zero. In fact, slaves that were captured after the Emancipation Proclamation by the Union armies, they were thrown into contraband camps. These were very hellish places where 1 in 4 died. That's 25%. And after that, after the Civil War, they opened up the contraband camps and said, go on, have a nice day, try to figure out this whole being free thing. And a lot of them also died there. And not only that, a lot of abolitionists wanted to send the blacks back to Africa, Abraham Lincoln included. And they almost did it. It lost by something like 1 vote in Congress. So, it's like, and as far as the whole comparing the Confederates to the Patriots, there was not much difference at all. In fact, there were 27 grievances, and slavery is brought up in them. Reasons why the colonies left the British Empire. Second, we come to, well, the Star Spangled Banner. There are a lot of blacks who in this country still refuse to sing it at sporting events. And well, to be fair, they do it for a good reason. Because there are lyrics that they know that you probably don't. There's even talk about, oh, neither the hireling nor slave could escape the gloom of the grave. And a whole bunch of other stuff that's a tad bit really, really racist. As far as the history of the Confederate flag goes, it did not appear as a symbol of racism until like the 40s with the Dixiecrats. You see, it was primarily in use by Confederate veterans organizations, as well as in World War II, they would have units that composed largely of Southerners, and they would often fly Confederate flags. In fact, in the Battle of Okinawa, one such company raised the Confederate flag over Shuri Castle, and so yeah, there's that. And however, the Dixiecrats, as a big fuck you to the federal government, dragged out a whole bunch of Confederate flags during the 1940s after they decided that the Democrat Party, which was a lot like the Republican Party today, wasn't racist enough for them. And you could compare Trump to the Dixiecrats, and all that's the MAGA people to the Dixiecrats, except the MAGA people are way stupider. But that being said, is I really, really feel that it's like, they take down a whole bunch of Confederate statues. It's like, what does that really do? Nothing really. It just appeases people. And is there racism in America? Oh, yes, there is. It's not gone. It is alive and well, baby. And you see, the thing about it is the Confederacy had numerous great military leaders, such as Robert E. Lee, Stonewall Jackson, James Longstreet, Nathan Bedford Forrest, Edmund Kirby Smith, P.G.T. Beauregard, and the list just goes on and on and on. It had many great generals compared to the North's few. And, but the fact is the Confederate flag is a symbol of the Americans' right to rebel against their own government, which is, my friends, a very American thing. The Confederacy was not perfect, not by a long shot, but neither was the Union. And the Union, which exists today, by the way, is still not perfect. And it will never be perfect. No nation is perfect. The best we can do is try to get ourselves as close to perfect as possible. And it's like, I frankly see, a lot of things. And it's like, I mentioned that Native Americans earlier, the Apache, the Sioux, the Cheyenne, and particularly the Comanche were all very brutal people and very brutal tribes who did very nasty things. I'm not saying that, I'm not saying we were perfect or that we did everything right, because we did not. We did this country has done a lot of horrible things. The Confederacy did a lot of horrible things. And if you look at any nation's history, there's just so much horrible shit. And it's like, if as far as like racism goes, a big reason the colonists rebelled was so that they could not only keep their slaves, but the British weren't too keen on expanding westward, whereas a lot of people in the colonies were like, oh, hell no, we're going west. And they didn't stop until they hit the Pacific Ocean. And you see, they're not going to teach you all that stuff about the revolution in high school. If you're lucky, they might teach it at a university, but that's doubtful. And but you will learn it from me, because I don't give a crap about your feelings. And I will tell it like it is. And as far as the Confederates being traitors, I'm like, what's wrong with that? I mean, our whole country was founded because of treason. I mean, George Washington, Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Jefferson, Patrick Henry, Paul Revere, Horatio Gates, and Henry Knox, they all, and every Continental soldier and militiamen, Minutemen, whatever, they all committed treason against the crown. And so yeah, there goes that argument. You could say, that Spartacus was a traitor. You could say that, William Wallace was a traitor, and he was executed for treason, by the way. There's just, so many traitors in history that are now revered as heroes. And so, get used to that little idea. And as I said, this whole country was founded because of treason, and the Betsy Ross flag is the original rebel flag. And as far as the Confederacy being losers, well, yeah. Your monuments are just participation trophies. Well, I guess monuments to veterans of the Vietnam War and Afghanistan War, I guess those are participation trophies too, because the U.S. lost those. In any case, it's just, if this offends you, I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. Because I don't care about your feelings, and I just want to tell you the facts. And by not care about your feelings, I don't care about, I mean it. I don't care where your politics are. If you're a white supremacist, I don't care if this offends you. If you are a leftist commie, I don't care if this offends you. And it's just, I could go on and on about this, but it's like the North had all of the advantages in the Civil War. They had more industry, more railroads, more people, more farmland, and better diplomatic relations. They had all the cards. The fact that the Confederacy lasted as long as it did was a military miracle. Could the Confederacy have won? Possibly, but very, very doubtful. They might have had a chance if they had had someone like Lee in the Western, if they had had a army commander like Lee in the Western Theater or greater, but even that, then it's doubtful. The South just didn't have the manpower, raw materials, or industry to compete with the North. But it fought till its last breath, and it fought bravely. And I am proud of my Confederate ancestors. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Be good, y'all.